Welcome to the Weigh In Podcast, your prescription for a healthier life, where wellness is more than just a number on a scale. We'll dive deep into not just weight loss, but the medical, emotional, and lifestyle aspects of well-being.
In each episode, we'll weigh in on hot topics, ranging from diet myths and exercise trends to mental health and chronic disease management, providing you with the evidence-based advice to guide your health decisions. Remember, it's not just about the weight on the scale, but about creating a healthier, more balanced you.
Hello, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Sorry, I know I threw that on you with starting to record, but I was like, you know what? Off the cuff is literally supposed to be off the cuff, so we can let the rest of the world join in on our random conversation.
Right, exactly, because essentially that's what it is, just conversation between you and me. For those who don't know, Katie is opening her second location, and so she's been busy in Delaware going back and forth and expanding her empire, so super excited for that.
Czarina's
How's the whole process
very busy listening to me constantly ask her this or that or this color. Should I put this here? Is this big enough? What would you do? Etc.
No, it's fun. It feels like I'm part of the process without really doing anything. I like making decisions like that.
I love having your input, especially because I love the aesthetic of your office.
Oh, thank you.
It's like minimalist but pretty. I feel like we kind of have like a similar vibe in that regard. So I love, although side note, my house looks nothing like my office. Like the office is so neat and clean and beautiful and like smells amazing. Meanwhile, my house is like mass chaos on a good day. So
well, I mean, you've got like 3 other guys in there, so it's a little hard to control versus your office is just like your space, right?
Facts, exactly. And my patients are not heathens. The males that live in my house.
Oh man.
Back from the Philippines, thank God. Yes. I missed you so much.
Oh, I missed you too, and I was so just sad being home. Yeah, no, it was great. I was just telling Nick, like, we were just making breakfast today, and I was like, man, do you just miss just the buffets we would have in Asia for like breakfast? You don't have to worry about anything. And like everything was just top tier. So we went to the Philippines and we also went to Thailand, went to Bangkok, and we stayed at this really nice hotel where they offer you buffet for breakfast. But it was like a, international buffet type of thing. So you get very stuffed very easily. And then you can make, they would make an omelet for you fresh. So that's what I was thinking. Like I was making eggs and all that, and I was like, man, I just miss when BS. Cooking for myself and like just couldn't get things just to pick out. My aunt's 80th birthday. It felt very much like Crazy Rich Asians type of feel.
Oh, you did say that in one of your text messages, and I'm like, I can't wait to hear about this.
It just felt like a wedding reception, like 5-course meal. There was like female singer and male singer. So yeah, very fun time. Just lots of food. Is that
the one where you sent me that picture of you looking absolutely gorgeous?
Yeah. So yeah, I was there for 2 weeks, but like honestly, I think 2 weeks is fine. It was just enough. Cause yeah, when I'm there for 3 weeks, I get homesick around like week 3. I'm like, okay, I want a salad now. I want juice.
I know, and there's something nice just about like being home.
And like you're just eating all the time, at least in the Philippines. Again, they just want you to eat all the time. And to be fair, I mean, there's not much to do. Like when you're in Manila, it's a big city, lots of malls. There's really not too much sightseeing to do, and it's hot. So you just want to stay inside. Right. But in between meals, you're kind of like, okay, well, let's get a coffee. Let's get like a smoothie, let's get a snack.
Right, because it makes sense.
Yeah, you just don't have much to do in the mall if you're not really shopping. Yeah, so it was a great trip. Just happy to be back. How about you? You also went to Florida.
Yes, literally not even a little bit as exciting as going to the Philippines. But as you mentioned before, I'm opening the second location now in a matter of weeks. So it was helpful, A, to be stateside because I could still like get stuff done in Florida when I had to, although I tried to limit that. And B, it was nice to not be away for more than a week. Because when you're doing a big project like that, your mind is still like a little bit of my brain was always thinking, okay, I wonder if this got done and that got done and I have to do this and I have to do that. So like That being said, it was very relaxing. All the same, the kids in the family had a great time. Maxie turned 8 years old.
Aww.
So we had his birthday there. We went dolphin watching on his birthday, which was super cute.
Aww. Had they done that
Yeah,
before?
he like loved it. No, that was our first time, which you would think like, I don't know, having like a mom who's like, who has some Caribbean in her, that we would have done that before. But no, that was his first time and he like loved it. I got worried mid-trip, like when we were on the boat, because I'm like, crap, I don't see any dolphins. Like, I don't want to like ruin his birthday by like almost going dolphin watching. And then suddenly we saw like 5 of them and he was delighted. He thinks they came out of the ocean just to say happy birthday to him, which maybe that's the case. And on the boat, they made a big announcement that it was his birthday.
Oh, how fun.
So kids are so cute. He was like, Mommy, how did they know? I'm like, I don't know.
Oh God, to be that age where just like, you don't rationalize enough to be like, oh,
No.
Of course, someone had to tell them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Aww.
Nope. He's like, how did they know? I'm like, I have no idea.
They just know.
It was a good time. I also got to see a friend who I hadn't seen since I was a little kid. We went to this museum exhibit called the Dolly. It's in Tampa. And my mom's friend's daughter, her name is Laurel. She's lovely. We used to play when we were kids, like 8 or 9. So I saw her for the first time in like a couple of decades.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she's like a little baby with her. So it was super cool to see her after so many years. It was weird for me. I'm sure it was weird for her. Like, imagine not seeing me since I was a kid. And then I brought Elijah with me. Elijah's like 6'4". So I come with this tall man, like, this is my kid. It's such a novel thing when you have all boys to have like a girl who has like all these girly mannerisms and adorable. So it was a great time. I had a lot of fun. So
Good. Yeah, much needed. It's just so nice to be out in the summer. Weather's great. And just to take that time, especially like when you're working so hard and especially being a business owner, it's like, you're working so much and you kind of don't want to step away because you're like, what if everything just goes to crap? Like, I'm away.
Exactly. That's what you think. But then the minute I was on the plane, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm doing this. And honestly, even the couple days before, that like excitement that you get about going away starts to kick in. And that part was like really nice. So it was really nice.
It makes you kind of work harder because you're like, okay, I got to get things done. Got to make sure
girl,
everything's in place.
So productive.
I think another issue that I guess I had myself being guilty of, and I'm sure some other people do too, is like, when you're on vacation, especially being weight loss providers too, you're like, God, this is so much food. How much weight did I gain? And at the end of it, I kind of just was like, why? I want to enjoy this food. I don't want to stress about it. I know for some people, that's often something that they ask me about. They're like, I'm going to go on vacation. They might want to shed some pounds, look a certain way. Of course, they're going to be in their bikini and everything, but they're just kind of worried about like, okay, when I go on vacation, am I going to like, get off the wagon here in a sense? I guess I wouldn't look at it that way. I would just enjoy your time. Like, you don't want to limit yourself. Enjoy the foods that you're eating. I would say when you come back, like all I care about is that you don't come back with bad habits. Like, if, I know you're kind of used to eating a lot probably when you're on vacation, but like when you're back home, just go back to your normal routine. And I'm sure, like, don't even try to get on the scale. Like, you might have gained weight. A lot of it is usually water weight. And I'm sure once you get back on your routine, you'll go back to, your usual. So that's the one thing about vacation. I think just try not to stress about it. It's just not worth it. Like, don't keep intermittent fasting or don't keep calorie counting. It's just going to cause so much stress and you're not going to have any fun.
I agree. The only caveat being, unless you like really want to do those things, there are some people who are just so proud of themselves that they've done those, that they've developed those habits that they want to continue when they're on vacation. I will say that I think everything in life requires a little bit of a mental break. So I kind of agree with Czarina in that regard, taking a little bit of a break. But what I will say is also set realistic expectations for yourself, right? So when you come to see, a lot of my patients come to me like the week before they're leaving for vacation and we set all these goals, but I'm like, wait a minute, you're about to go on vacation. So what are we doing on vacation? Is the goal to lose weight while you're on vacation? Because that's going to change how your vacation goes. Or is the goal to simply maintain your weight? Set a realistic goal. And also set sort of realistic expectations for yourself so that you don't have guilt, because the guilt piece is oftentimes what leads to sort of this cycle of yo-yo dieting that we're so prone to. So really give yourself realistic goals. So maybe it's going to be, I'm going to be on vacation, but I might drink alcohol, but I'm going to limit myself to only drinking 2 drinks a day or whatever that looks like. You're the real MVP if you do 2 drinks a day. Especially if you're at all inclusive, then
oh yeah,
hats off to you. Right? Yeah. Hats off to you. But yeah, so I want you set realistic goals and expectations that you don't feel guilty when you get back. That's the goal. This dieting, we use diet because we're all a little bit lazy and it's easier to say, but the truth of the matter is that I know at Lifefire and I know at the A-List Clinic too, the idea is to develop a healthy lifestyle, right? And in your life, you're going to go on vacations. So that doesn't mean that you punish yourself for it. That doesn't mean that you fall off the radar, that you know what I mean? It just means that you go on a vacation, and whatever you decide to do on vacation, whether that's eating healthy, whether that's maybe having some dietary indiscretions, make sure that you mentally prepare yourself to do those things so that you don't have that guilt afterwards.
It's important to have a good relationship with food. So exactly all the things you mentioned, because I think some people, again, guilt themselves after they've had something bad. So they're like, maybe they go to the gym for like 2 hours that day because they're like, oh, I ate way too much. And that's definitely not what we want to do. Just enjoy the food and you'll be totally fine. I've had some clients that they did go on vacation and they're still on the medication, right? And some people worry like, oh, can I take it with me? For the most part, yes. I mean, you'll have no issues pretty much taking it with you. Just make sure that I guess if you need a prescription of some sort, if they were to be really, picky, of course, check the country that you're going to if they're more strict. But generally, I would say a lot of the airports, at least in the US, are not going to stop you like when you're leaving to an international place. I can't say about other countries going back in, but like, I don't think it's really an issue. And again, if you want to like take a break too, some people are like, I want to enjoy my food. I don't want to because the medication makes you feel so full so fast. So they're like, I want to enjoy it. And so I'm like, you could totally take a break, of course. I would just suggest again, this is per provider. People do things differently. If it's been more than 2 weeks and you haven't had a shot, I would probably go down on your dose like a little bit, just because I don't want you to get any side effects from when you start back again. And then same goes like if you go any longer, again, consult with your provider. This is not medical advice, just something that I would suggest that you bring up. For some other people too, like even if you're not on vacation, summer has a lot of events going on, right? Like I've seen a lot of people go on bachelorette parties or like they have friends visiting and stuff like that. And so they're just like, man, I'm eating so much. I'm drinking a lot. I don't feel good. And yeah, that's kind of just unfortunately just what it is when you're partaking in those things. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. It's just kind of a balance of, again, you can totally go to these events and enjoy yourself. But when you're on the medication, you will realize like things are more, you feel things a lot more, I would say. Because again, you're with the medication, the digestion's slowing down. So like, you're still feeling really full. And especially if you're just eating like up to 100% of satiety, you're going to like for sure have some maybe nausea and stuff like that. So that's just something to be aware of. And drinking, of course, is not contraindicated with the weight loss meds. But again, you're just going to feel probably more effects, like especially if you get hangover, you're like, man, I haven't had a hangover in a minute. Why do I feel this way? Just from like drinking, I don't know, 2 drinks. So that's just something to be aware of.
For sure. And obviously be careful about doing any binge eating. You are at increased risk for pancreatitis while you're on drugs like semaglutide. So just be careful. I think all of those things are very true and very valid. Just make sure, I think it's important to have a good time and to enjoy your vacation. That being said, there's no rules to this, right? We just said, have a good time, go on vacation. But just because every time you go on vacation in the past, maybe you've drank heavily, maybe you've eaten all kinds of crazy things. You don't have to do that this time. That's the thing. And just because people in your family are doing it or your friends are doing it does not mean that you have to do it that way. So there are 2 categories of people, generally speaking. There's people that I have that are like, 3 categories. People that are like, I'm going to do whatever when I'm on vacation because it's vacation. Then there's people who are like, I'm going to have a few indiscretions, but I'm still going to kind of stay on the diet. And then there's people who fully commit to it the whole time that they're away. And if you are in an environment that supports that, I think that that's great. I know when I was at the heart of my weight loss journey, I did a girls trip with my best friend in the world. Her name is Jules. She was on our podcast. And then her cousin, who's also a friend of mine named Whitney. We went to Tulum, Mexico, which I know you and I have had fantasies about having a wellness retreat there maybe in the future. We had like a great trip. And one of the things that we did while we were there is we were like super healthy, I would say. Like, yes, we did drinking and we ate good foods, but like we also like worked out at the gym multiple times during the week. And overall, I would say our habits were like very, very healthy. Now, this is something that I wanted to do. And again, Jewel is like my sister. She's my best friend in the world. So she knew I was losing weight. So she also was like, hey girl, we going to the gym? We would. And it was fun. And most of our things involved like hiking and movement and all those things. And so it was very supportive of that type of thing. So I think you kind of have to read the room and figure out like, what kind of trip am I on? Who am I with? And then what do I want to do? But you may find that like you're enjoying your healthy weight loss journey and you don't want to do a lot of heavy drinking. You don't want to do a lot of like eating of like greasy fat foods. And that's okay too. So don't let other people kind of like guilt you into making you feel like you have to do those things, especially friends or family members who might not be used to these new habits that you have.
Actually, when I was in the Philippines, I got a gym membership across the street because I was like, I just don't want to be out of my routine. I really want to just keep on it. Again, it wasn't to like undo anything that I was eating. I felt better that day if I just worked out that day. And then, I don't know, it made me re-examine the things that I was eating. Like I would indulge in sweets here and there. And typically like before I was really, so focused on going on the gym all the time, I would always just have sweets. I love sweets. It's like, I'm such a sweet
right there
tooth.
with you, girlfriend.
Yeah. So after I've worked out, like I would like, you know what? I kind of want some protein. I want to prioritize like having eggs, having, some sausage or something like that rather than the sweet. Cause I feel like it just helps me after my workout and stuff.
Yep.
And then same with when I went to Thailand, there was a really nice gym at the hotel. So we would use that. And so, yeah. And then even if you don't have a gym, like some of the places that you travel to, like for example, like if you go to Japan, you're going to be walking like average, probably 20,000, 30,000 steps a day. So easily you're walking around, and even Europe, I'm sure you're walking a lot. So you don't have to think about it in that way. Like, oh, I haven't gone to the gym, but yeah, you're probably going to be walking around all day too. And I find some places are easier to eat a lot healthier. Like, for example, Greece. A client of mine just went there recently, and their Mediterranean diet, a lot of their food is just so healthy. And it's just so good. Like a Greek salad there, the most basic Greek salad is so good because the veggies are all grown there and everything.
Oh yes, in Greece, I was so on target with my healthy eating habits. It's like if you're doing like a lean protein diet, like I totally agree. Greece is for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just the choices that you make, if you are trying to be really conscious about what you're eating, how I do it, just portion sizes. Like, okay, I'm focusing on protein first, then my veggies, then I can have some carbs. If you're having dessert, just split it with somebody. Again, that's if you're being really conscious of what you're eating on vacation, or even when you're eating out. That's what I tell my clients too. It's not like all food is bad when you eat out. It just depends on what you're picking. And there's always something off the menu that you could order that's like, pretty like in line with your lifestyle goals.
There really shouldn't be I wanted to do X or I wanted to be healthy, but I couldn't. Right? Because all of this is about choices, right? So if you want to eat healthy on vacation, you 1,000,000% can. It's just a choice. If you don't want to eat healthy, and I ain't knocking you if you don't, then just plan for it, plan accordingly. Tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to lose weight while on vacation. Maybe the goal is to maintain my weight. Maybe I'm okay with gaining 2 pounds, and make yourself mentally okay with that consequence. And I think that's cool.
Just think about like however long you're on vacation for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks versus how many other days that like you're on track. Like 2 or 3 weeks is not going to undo all the hard work that you've already been doing. So, yeah.
I agree. So I heard mention of a discussion about like body sculpting, body contouring.
Well, I was just kind of curious, I suppose, from what you've heard about or what you've read about. I mean, I see people do the cool sculpting or the body contouring, and they claim that it loses couple inches from their abdomen or whatever they're trying to target. So I was just, wanting to gather like your opinions and like what you think about it. Do you feel like it's BS, or is it something that could help with weight loss?
And this is a tricky one because girl, those Lord forgive me for saying this. Those laser machine selling people bring the best snacks, breakfast, coffee, treats, lunch, sometimes steak dinners by the office, trying to sell me these machines. I'm reluctant, you guys, to mess with my yummy lunch hookup because I'm saying this all in good fun, but these laser companies and pharmaceutical companies are really good for like doing like little pitches when they come by your office.
Yep.
They're more likely to get me because I'm internally greedy and love food. They are way more likely to get me to sit for a meeting if they're like, oh, by the way, I want to come and bring by some blah 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 for.
Anyone would.
Oh yeah, like. Oh, yeah. I will hear all about your laser machine.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's cool because like actually it is really good information. And if I know like at our office we have space to potentially incorporate some laser machines or other sort of aesthetics machines in the future. I think you're in the same boat, Czarina. So I definitely have heard them out multiple times, and I've had colleagues who have offered it. I have some patients who have gotten it done as well. And results, I would say, have been mixed. I think, and again, anybody that that offers these services that ever wants to come on the podcast, we'd love to hear this directly from you guys. But my general sort of sense is that these are not things that you get results for like right away. It takes a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, and more than a little bit of money. So what that means is you're shelling out a lot of money, but I think it takes time to see those results. I have had people be like, I did like M-Sculpt and my results are fire, right? I have had people do that because, as you know, we have a lot of people that are on like maintenance. So they, a lot of times after you get to your goal weight, the next step is body contouring, maybe a little tummy tuck, whatever. So we do get people that have done it and they claim that they've had like great results and they're happy with it. I have other people who are like, I did it, didn't work. I even have had some people be like, I did like cool sculpting and I feel like it just made me feel like bloated. It didn't work for me. So I don't know. I've never experienced those services myself, and I don't currently offer those services. They're services that I'm interested in. I'm just as interested as you are, Czarina. Like, do they work? Do people actually love them? Oh my gosh, if you've gotten these services, please let us know. Reach out to us on Instagram because eventually Czarina and I kind of want to like unpack this with a guest on the episode, and we would love to hear any questions you guys have about it so we can forward that information. But yeah, what's your experience been with it? Have any of your clients had it done?
No, I haven't had any clients have it done, but at least from what I've learned about is that, I mean, it's not a magic solution similar to weight loss meds. You still have to eat right. You still have to exercise. And so, again, on top of doing all of these things, like the laser or the machine is supposed to just help kind of lose a couple of inches. And like Katie said, it takes several sessions, usually like 6, and you keep coming back, I think, every month to do it. It does cost a pretty penny, like she said. So yeah, I'm not sure what the verdict is with the machines.
Or where you need to be in your weight loss to do this. Most of the people that I see do this successfully are at the end of their weight loss journey.
That's what I was going to say. So like I've had some clients be like, you know what, I'm pretty skinny, but then I feel like a little bit chubby or something like that. And I feel like, yeah, at that point, maybe the machine might help with that too, on top of them exercising. This one client was like asking like, what can I do? I don't know if I need to lose more weight or do I like do strength training? And I said, oh, strength training, of course, because that's going to help tone things up. Which is another important thing when you do a weight loss program. Like you want to, and I kind of wish we could rename the like weight loss. Like it should be fat loss because I feel like it's so hard to determine on the scale. Okay, is this muscle or is this fat? Mm-hmm. So at another machine that I was just thinking of now, like it's a brand. It's called the InBody, but it tells you, of course, like the different things where it's all distributed with the fat. Which that's actually something I did in the Philippines. They had in the gym that I was at, they had this body scan thing, and you just hold on to the handles and it tells you like where your visceral fat is. That's a fat around your organs, which you don't want too much of. And then like your BMI and all these information. But the tricky thing with those machines is that, like, I guess with the InBody specifically, it's like, well, you can't have water or something right before, or you can't have just exercise. There's so many variations and factors that you have to get right. But I think it's a good baseline. Even some of the scales can do it too. Of course, not super accurate, but if you just use it as like a trend to kind of, see if you're going in the right direction, I think those are really helpful too. And
I think that they are, and I know, in the past we've even considered adding it to the clinic, and I'm always on the fence because I agree it gives great knowledge, but like at the same time, the bottom line remains the same, right? I don't care whether or not you like maybe some of what you have going on is like maybe you lost some water weight that week and this, or like maybe you lost more fat versus not. But like in the beginning stages of the weight loss, the bottom line remains the same, right? It's calories in versus calories out. You're here to lose weight. You need to lose weight. You know how well you did and how hard you worked that week. And those numbers don't always show on the scale. I think InBody, and I think there's another one, Staiku, give like more information. Yes. But ultimately, the numbers on the scale are the numbers on the scale, but there's so many other ways to kind of like make sure that you're on track. And your bottom line, regardless of what kind of fat it is, regardless of how much water it is, your bottom line is you need to make sure that you're eating healthy and that, again, you're burning calories. So I think ultimately the outcome is the same in terms of like what it is that you want to get done. I think those nuances become more important as you lose more and more weight and are getting closer and closer to that goal weight. But I think ultimately, like I said, I think it's a helpful thing, but not something I want all of my patients to like perseverate on. As somebody who has done medical weight loss and I used to go on those scales, y'all, I would be like, oh my gosh, like obsessing over it, and it would be like, wait a minute, Katie, this doesn't change anything. You still need to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and I have some clients that are like, I can't have a scale in my house because I'm just going to obsess over it. Honestly, I feel like a scale is one thing to look at when it comes to tracking your goals, but oftentimes I just ask, like, do your clothes feel looser? Like if you measure yourself to measure your waist, measure all of your, like your thighs, your arms and stuff like that, that's another good indicator that you're losing fat. So I wouldn't really rely too much on the scale. There's just too many variables that go into that. And so clothes, pictures, that's another thing that I like to do. Just compare your before and after, like before you start any weight loss program and then like during. So good. What have you encountered, I guess, when you have patients in maintenance? Like, what are they doing with you once they reach the goal weight?
Oh, great question. So maintenance takes a little bit of time. As you know, a lot of these GLP-1s really are approved for chronic weight management of obesity. Realistically, many people can't afford to stay on these meds long term. Many people do stay on them, but for the people that are have gotten to their goal weight and they're either staying on the meds or not staying on the meds, the plan is usually different, right? So for people that are completely off of the medications, I still like for them to check in with me at least every 3 months, and we do a visit, see how they're doing. A lot of these patients still sporadically buy like shot passes for like the lipotropic and B12 injections. And because we offer other services like IV infusions, et cetera, we still see some of them a lot, which I love. But the main point here is the check-ins are really important. Being obese or being overweight, these are disease processes, right? And as a result, you need to keep up with it just like you would anything else. You should still be doing follow-up visits. You shouldn't lose the weight and then fall off the radar. So a really big thing is, especially for our maintenance patients, is we try to make sure that they have an appointment on the books when they leave, right? Like, you're doing so well with the maintenance, you're doing awesome. I don't think you need to see me every month, but I do want to see you in about 2.5, 3 months to make sure that all is well and to check in. And we're still here, like, if you need us. And so, that's kind of how that works, is continuing to see these patients and follow up with them is key.
That's great. Usually what we do is if they still want to stay on the meds, then they just take it like every so often rather than every week. And, they can experiment with it, see if they need to keep the dose or lower it. And of course, if they choose to move on to a different medication, I like to move on to the oral meds as well. It's just different because you have to take that every day rather than like every week or every 2 weeks. So that's a little bit more of a hassle for some people, but they just want to make sure that they keep the weight off. Cause like one thing that you will see is that, especially when you stop any kind of weight loss program, regardless if it's you're on meds or not, or if you're doing diet or something, keto, intermittent fasting, whatnot, once you lose the weight, then people just kind of go back to bad eating habits and eating junk food and whatever, and then they gain the weight back again. So it's just important that's why from what me and Katie do, we just want to make sure that you have these sustainable lifestyle habits, because it's so easy to go on a program, lose weight, and then you just fall off of it, and then you gain the weight back again, and then you just go back on the next trend.
Yep.
You know, next year, who knows what it's going to be? I don't know if it's still going to be Ozempic, Mounjaro, etc. Any of these meds might be something new, but
Maybe it'll be a new one.
a new drug, right?
Yep.
So we just want to make sure that you stay on top of your eating habits. That's really the main thing. Just yeah, if you can stay on top of that and something that you can sustain. Some people can stay on the intermittent fasting for like years, and that's just something that they like to do. It's just, you need to find out what works for you. You know, keto isn't for everybody, or paleo isn't for everybody. You just have to find out what you do. And I think guidance is important, like you said. I same with me. I just love hearing from you, especially after you've lost your weight. Just how are things going? So I think that's really important, just to keep yourself accountable. And like, I had one client where I told her like, "Oh, you've graduated now," and she's like, "No, I don't feel like I've really graduated. Like, I still need to, like, you know, I've got to maintain this." And I'm like, "You're right. Like, okay, so you've graduated like middle school. Now you're going on to high school, and you got to maintain your grades." So that's how I see it.
1,000,000%. Yeah. So you have to protect that investment that you made in yourself. And it's almost harder when you're not seeing us regularly, because even though you've reached your goal weight, it's like, oh my gosh, suddenly I feel like I'm doing this more on my own. So we're always available and here. Because for that reason, like I said, it's very easy to regain the weight. This was really hard. It's really, really hard to lose the weight, but it's really easy to gain it back if you don't stay on top of it, right? Just like how like a diabetic makes sure that they check their glucose levels, you need to stay on top of like maintaining a healthy weight once you've put all that work in. And that becomes a question of like personal accountability to yourself. So I highly recommend that if you're in a weight loss program, make sure that if you're doing maintenance, that you get on some type of schedule with your weight loss provider after you reach your goal weight, even if that looks like annual visits, you know what I mean? But that first year is so key for making sure that people are able to keep that weight off. And that's regardless of whether you stay on the drug or not. It doesn't matter either way.
Right. And, you know, the medication, I mean, it is safe long term. You don't need to be scared that like there's any adverse side effects, at least from the studies that we've seen. We haven't really seen anything that's bad about taking it long term. It's not like stimulants that normally it's just recommended for like 12 weeks, because those are really strong, causes a lot of side effects like jitteriness, and like especially if you have high blood pressure, we don't want you to take it because it's like as if you're drinking a lot of coffee. You know, the cool thing about the weight loss meds is that it's like a synthetic version of the gut hormones that we make in our body, so that's why the side effects are pretty minimal, to just usually nausea versus like a whole systemic reaction. So generally, yes, it's very safe to take long term. It's not something you have to worry about. But again, of course, I'm sure after a while you're like, you know, I just don't want to be on meds anymore. And that's fine. Of course, if you don't have any chronic conditions like Katie mentioned, obesity or diabetes, then for sure, that's something that you could just, you know, get off of. But again, just want to make sure that you keep the habits that you gained when you were on the weight loss program.
1,000,000%. Because it's if you are somebody who really finds that this drug has been like life altering, which it is for some people, and that you have gone from being maybe like morbidly obese to being a normal healthy weight, then you really have to sit down with yourself and kind of weigh the pros and cons of coming off the drug versus not, right? Because by staying a normal healthy weight, you're preventing yourself from some much more expensive disease processes, some much more expensive things to kind of have to take care of, like hospital stays, from strokes, from heart attacks, you know, from diabetic ketoacidosis, from like all the horrible things that can happen when you or your increases for when you're obese. So
and I find health is an investment. Like some people kind of say, oh gosh, Pilates is so expensive, you know, but then when you think about the big picture, it's like, well, if it's helping you get out and helping you work out, I think it's worth it. You know, if you're not a gym girly, you're like, I have to be in a class, but the classes are a bit more expensive, then I'd say do it. You know, of course there's cheaper ways to do it. You could always go on YouTube and do it that way. But if you physically need to be in a space where you're with other people and you need a teacher, like I think it's worth it to spend that money. And
I notice I'm quiet about this one because you know how I feel about Pilates. Oh my God, I'd rather eat glass. It's so boring.
Well,
It's so
Pilates,
boring.
yeah. So again, like with Skylar's episode, we talked about more low impact, So some people can't handle like the Orange Theory or type of classes. But they're out there. There's always boot camp and whatnot.
Whatever's gonna work for you, I fully support.
I say overall, like when it comes to doing exercise, and I don't think this is something that a lot of weight loss like programs really touch on. Sometimes it's kind of just like walk or something.
Hold up. Unless you're Emily, we talked about this in the last OTC episode. We were on vacation and we were talking about our clinics, and Czarina and I are talking about what we recommend or whatever as far as physical activity. Emily gonna say that she does actual demonstrations. So if you're in Colorado, you at all are wondering whether or not Busy Bird Weight Loss would be a great help to you, which is the name of her weight loss clinic, you should definitely get Emily, because Emily says she out here doing actual physical demonstrations. She getting on the floor and she's showing you exactly what to do. So she is the real MVP.
Yeah,
I was dying when that happened though. I was like, Emily, what?
I'm like
you doing squats and stuff? Like in the middle,
yeah.
We jumping up? Emily was like, yeah.
I'd say on average, I mean, if you're working out at least like 3 times a week, and it can be like 30 minutes or an hour, of course, you don't always have to do running or anything like that. Strength training is really the best thing for you. I feel like the mindset from like before, I feel like it was a lot of cardio. Now it's like, okay, we really got to focus on strength training, building that muscle mass. It helps you in so many ways. And I was guilty of that too. I always thought I needed to run to lose the fat. I mean, you have to have a balance of both. I think you should add in a couple of cardio sessions a week too. But then I think strength training is like really important because especially when you get older, like I think in your 30s and 40s, you do start to lose muscle mass. And so it's good to build that like now, especially. And then when you get older in like your 50s and 60s, and then, God forbid, if you were to get cancer or something like that, like you just don't want to waste away. If you have really good muscle tone, I feel like it just helps you out in the long term. So it's not just for like fat loss. It's really just for your health in general. You don't have to do anything super duper intense. You don't have to do boot camp. You don't have to like go hardcore all the time. So,
and if you've never done boot camp, make sure, and you decide you want to do boot camp, please make sure that you do modifications. So appropriately. So, and I agree with Czarina. Strength training is definitely important. I do still encourage patients early on to start with trying to get that cardio in for that fat burning piece, but ultimately high protein diet and strength training are going to be the things to help you maintain muscle mass.
And that's one thing you don't want to lose when you're in a weight loss program. You don't want to lose muscle, so it's really important to stay on top of those two things. Yeah. But another piece I wanted to mention too is like for some people, they have a lot of food noise as well. So I think the hard part is like when they get off meds, like food noise comes back. And I feel like it's really difficult when I like to recommend just if you have a really good like meditation program or just ways to deal with stress, because some people use food as comfort when they're stressed out. And so when you get off of the meds, you may find that like, you're having that food noise come back. So I feel like finding ways to mitigate that in different ways, again, through meditation or just finding, I don't know if you need to go to therapy as well, kind of dealing with stress in that way, whatever you can, talking to a friend, going for a walk. I think it always kind of helps too. So yeah, when you're off of the meds, or if you decide like, food noise is gonna be too much, I think I just need to do maintenance just to keep that off. Yeah.
Figuring out what's going to work for you is going to be key, and being self-aware enough to know like, maybe I need some additional help. That's okay too.
Yeah.
So if we want to spill a little bit of tea, do you remember Jon Gosselin?
Yeah, from like way back when. Jon Kate Plus 8, right?
Jon and Kate Plus 8. That show was lit, yo. I don't know. I guess that was a popular haircut at that time.
Yeah, that's like the essential Karen haircut. Hate it.
It is. It is 1,000,000% the essential Karen haircut. Mm-hmm. That's the Jon and Kate Plus 8 piece. And one of them recently, they're both in the news, Hannah Gosselin and Jon Gosselin. So that's the dad of all the kids. They just recently said that they used what sounds like semaglutide. It kind of sounds like compounded semaglutide to lose a bunch of weight. They lost a combined total of 75 pounds.
Oh, wow.
They did not actually like specify or use the name of the medication that they used, it sounds like, but it sounds like the rest of the world thinks that this was likely semaglutide. So yay. Yay for them. And that's awesome that they are feeling great and looking great. They're actually from here in Pennsylvania, I want to say, right? Isn't that you're like, girl, I don't know. I'm not following Jon and Kate Gosselin. Let's Google it. Where is Jon Gosselin from?
Well, they got divorced, right? So are they still living in the same area? That'd be weird.
I don't know. I know he was born and raised in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. So, but I just feel like they were in PA. Remember, weren't there twins and then the 6 kids? What do you call those?
Possibly.
Serena, you are no help.
I don't know.
Tallied her, y'all. She's so bougie. Serena's like, I'm called the A-list clinic for a reason. I don't get.
Yeah, these are D-listers.
I don't know about anything about these D-list celebs, Katie.
Nope.
I don't know where they're from. Nope. I don't know who these people are.
All I remember is that like Jon was looking a little beefy, and I think he lost weight, and then I guess he put it back on. Kate, I thought
that looked like stress weight. Can you imagine a divorce with all them kids?
Oh God, I don't know.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, but y'all, everyone's gonna judge me. But 8 kids. I don't know how much of a custody battle you're gonna get.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
By myself.
Bye.
Unless, like, I would be needing like a lot of alimony to support my nanny needs because 8 kids. I'm not even gonna be able to date anybody to bounce back and move on. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, thank you.
That's like my worst nightmare. One of those 8 children has lost weight, possibly due to semaglutide, and is living her best life. I think Google says that she was born in 2004, so she's youngish.
Oh God, so young. No, I just find it funny because it's like, oh, twins, oh crap, this is a lot. And then you get this other pregnancy test, 6. God.
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine? I literally can't. I'm getting anxious just thinking about it. I don't know why I watched that show. And
it's like when you have a dog and they have puppies, like, can I give them away? Like,
you can't do that.
They have like 10. They have 10 at the same time. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not surprised. So
8 little soul suckers. You guys that have kids know what I'm talking about. They all want to snack at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's great. Honestly, nowadays, like, it's good. It's really good that people lose weight easily. And sometimes it's kind of hard to tell, like, all right, like even with some people that I know, I'm like, okay, are you using the meds? Because you hardly ate shit during dinner. But they don't want to say it. They're like, yeah, diet and exercise.
Yeah, we talked about that. They're always talking about it's diet and exercise.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. You don't have, and then again, you know what? You don't owe anybody an explanation. So it is what it is. You don't have to tell people if you don't want to, but it is interesting to see how people are still kind of being very secretive about it. I thought about you the other day when I was looking at, I don't know, some celebrity gossip thing, where it was, I thought about your TikTok, the one that I'm obsessed with that you did a long time ago and I'm still not over. I thought about you because it was Kim and Khloe Kardashian leaving what appears to have been like an Indian wedding. They look gorgeous. Google it. Pull their picture up.
Yeah. I saw it. Yeah, I saw the picture.
Right? Like Kim's there, standing there trying to like look all mysterious. And then Khloe's there. But abs are on fleek, they look amazing. And it made me think of when she had to lose all that weight to wear that dress at the
Met Gala.
Yes.
It was
exactly.
like Marilyn Monroe's original dress. And then she, I don't know, apparently lost like 16 pounds in like 3 weeks or something like that. And this was like the start of Ozempic and people barely knew what Ozempic was.
And then I also thought of you recently. So it made me think of that because I saw that. And then I also thought of you recently because I was talking to my mom and we were talking about Gwyneth Paltrow. And I thought about that TikTok you did about her and it's a chiropractor, right?
No, he's a natural or naturopathic is what they call. And but he called himself Dr. Will because he has his master's PhD in functional medicine or something like that. He has his PhD in something natural, okay. Something. Mm-hmm.
My mom's only takeaway from that was, isn't she the one that makes the vagina candles? Yeah. Did you listen to anything that I just said? She's like, I But doesn't she make those candles to smell like vaginas? Unrelated, I believe she does make vagina candles. It's a vagina scented candle, and the candle is called "This Smells Like My Vagina." It's out of stock continuously. I'm not like following it per se, but it is out of stock quite a bit.
And yeah, I wonder who the target market is. Like, it can't be other females. Like, who wants to smell that?
I don't know. I guess. And like, who knows? More to come. We'll have to look into this. I don't even know if it actually smells like vaginas. I'm assuming that if it's calling itself that it probably should smell like a vagina, but I don't know anything about it. I've never bought it. I obviously don't have it in my house.
Amongst the things that smell good in your office, that's not one of them.
That is absolutely that is absolutely not one of them. But yeah, she is her interest in functional medicine is very interesting, was like kind of like my point there. But y'all knew when you got into this. This is off the cuff, which also means just like
going off the rails.
Flight of ideas. Like, what are they talking about right now? We were talking about Gwyneth Paltrow and how she's into like functional medicine, and she has this functional medicine doctor who gives her all of this like nutritional and like wellness guidance. It's very interesting.
No, I think functional medicine is great, used in the right way, though. Again, this guy is not a medical doctor, so it just kind of gives me like some BS vibes, because nowadays there's all these health coaches that can like be a functional medicine practitioner, but they're not like actually medically trained. And then they'll have like labs done for you, but then they're not interpreting the labs. They actually get these labs sent out and someone else is interpreting labs. So I would just be a little wary of like, if you were to go to a functional medicine provider, just do your research and see what kind of provider they are, because we want to make sure that you're getting the right information, and that they're not just trying to upsell you supplements, you know. His
credentials are IFMCP. I don't know what that is, y'all. DNM, DC. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, IFM is
those are like nursing credentials. So all my nurses say
right. You see all the initials and you're so impressed. You're like, wow.
Be like ABC, 123 dash FFQRST, dash XYZ. That's how nurse credentials be. He got nurse credentials up in there. What's IFMCP though, for real?
I just know of IFM, which is like, I think the Institute of Functional Medicine. So you can get your certification there, but honestly, yeah, he's not a medical doctor. I feel like functional medicine is good, especially if you're having like gut health problems, kind of like if you want to optimize your sleep, etc. Like it's a holistic version of, you know, approaching the root cause of things. But yeah, with Gwyneth Paltrow, I don't know. She's just, at the time, like when I saw that video, she was like getting an IV placed. She was so just like, I don't know. She looked very skinny, and she basically talked about how she hardly eats. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, she hardly eats. Talking about like, all I eat is bone broth and like juice in the morning, and then I'll have some veggies later on in the day. It's like, yeah, there's not much nutrition there, lady. I don't know.
So. Yeah, functional medicine is great. Just be careful. There's a lot out there, guys. So be careful. Stay safe.
Right. Same with weight loss or anything like that. Like you can get meds anywhere. With the power of the internet, you can get anything anywhere essentially, but just do your research and make sure that these are people that know what they're talking about and are actually like medically trained.
For sure. It's been a pleasure, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast, give us a rating, and share with your family and friends who might find it helpful.
And remember, we love hearing from our listeners. Connect with us on our social media channels or shoot us an email with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future topics. Don't forget to check out our website, www.thewayinandpeas.com, and to follow us on Instagram at thewayinandpeas.
If you need one-on-one help with your weight loss or wellness journey, book a private consultation with us. The A-List Clinic can be reached at www.thealistclinic.com or on Instagram and TikTok at The A-List Clinic.
And my clinic, Lifefire Weight and Wellness, can be reached at www.lifefireweight.com or on Instagram and TikTok at LifefireWeight.
Thanks again for tuning into the Wayne Podcast with your hosts, Katie and Czarina. Until next time, take care and be well.
The information in this podcast is for general information only. It is not intended as medical advice and should not be relied upon as a substitute for medical consultation with a qualified medical provider familiar with your medical needs.